The only good part of the wide receiver room is that, Kadarius Toney is healthy for week 1, so that's a big deal for them. He's not going to play more than half the games this year because he never does, meaning guys like Sky Moore, guys like, the young Justin Ross, Rashee Rice, guys that we've heard about and haven't really seen yet with Patrick Mahomes are going to get opportunities. The only guy that's really the count-on guy is Scantling, obviously, because Toney can't stay on the field. That's why I talk a lot about how Kansas City, I think, has not delivered the goods for Patrick Mahomes when it comes to surrounding him with better talent. At some point, that does catch up with you.
Yeah, he needs a number one. And if he's looking for a number one, there's a guy in Tampa by the name of Mike Evans who's been stacking 1,000-yard seasons like poker chips.
Yeah.
I will call him and say, hey, big fella, how about you come to KC and play with me and have some barbecue? I would love to see that for Patrick Mahomes because he needs somebody who's a deep threat who knocked the coverage off of defense.
Now, I know you like Sky Moore. You've been on him for a couple of years since he came into the league. He was demoted, but he was demoted last year because he was dropping punts, not based on his wide receiver skills. Had a good Super Bowl, scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl, but it's like you're waiting to figure out which one of them emerges outside of Kelsey, obviously, as his go-to guy.
See, and I don't have a problem with that because I've been a part of this type of a deal in Green Bay. Draft later round guys and allow them to develop because you understand that your quarterback play is going to be superior than most. And Patrick Mahomes allows them to have this luxury of not having to draft a number 1 first round, top 5, top 10. They won't have that pick anyway. So why waste it on a receiver when you have guys that you can continue to develop? You know your quarterback is going to always put them in the best position so they can succeed. And like Patrick Mahomes said, I think the most underrated value of these guys is that they're interchangeable. When you can have a group of guys that can play different positions, you can run the same play. And Andy Reid is brilliant. We saw it in the Super Bowl. Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, they scored on the same exact play, but it looked different because of their ability to interchange
James Jones, Donald Driver, Jordy Nelson,
Randall Cobb.
Didn't matter who was on the field. Interchangeable guys, all very good, but interchangeable because you had a Hall of Fame quarterback throwing you the rock.
Absolutely.
I got you. And by the way, that's what they're counting on. It's the closest thing we have gotten to Tom Brady and the Patriots since Tom Brady and the Patriots.
If you think about someone like Lamar Jackson, is when they don't succeed, we say he needs weapons, he needs weapons, he needs weapons. But you look at the results the Chiefs have with this strategy, it's hard to argue with. It's like they won the Super Bowl.
Look, when you go to 3 Super Bowls and win 2 of them, it's working.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
My point is you've got money available to you under the cap. Why not go get better talent to keep the train rolling? At some point, the road comes to an end for all teams, right? So why not capitalize when you have the quarterback in his prime by giving him better players? They've never done that.
Well, they've
with
helped
Mahomes.
him out. They've helped him out up front. They've got him 2 young tackles. They've done a lot as far as ramping that up. Obviously, you talk about the receiving core. One thing you have with Patrick Mahomes, he makes their receiving core stars, right? When you're a receiving core that doesn't have the big name, you have a guy like Patrick Mahomes, he brings you to the forefront. You will be a star. Look at Tyreek Hill. He left. He was everything. Now he's in Miami. He's all world. So you just got to understand, as long as you have Patrick Mahomes, he's going to build stars.
And I think you bring up a great. We forget about the fact that they had Tyreek Hill.
Which is very similar to New England cutting or releasing well-known players who are really good. It's the same exact blueprint that worked in New England for so long.
Now it's time for Second and Football. We move on to the Jaguars. Their head coach, Doug Pederson, had this to say about his quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. Quote, he's the real deal. He's the guy we all anticipated he was. You remember coming out of Clemson, he was the best prospect since Andrew Luck. He was the future of the position, blah, blah, blah. Is Doug Pederson just sort of giving some confidence to his young quarterback?
I'd love to know what the question there was. Like, we know it, right?
Is Trevor Lawrence good at football?
Yeah, what are we talking about? Like, they won a playoff game last year. He had a really good second half in that game. The second half of the season, obviously the light bulb went off. He figured out how to be an NFL quarterback. You're giving him Calvin Ridley this year. Yep. But, did anybody think in the last couple of weeks that Trevor Lawrence wasn't good? Or what? I'm trying to figure out, that's the way my brain works, what was the question? Do you think someone said to Doug Pederson, hey, quarterback, ain't any good?
Well, no, what you need is see him mature. And this is why I always get nervous, and we had this conversation last time we was up here about starting a young quarterback like Anthony
Yes.
Richardson, right? Because you got to throw him out there. And I was against it because I'm like, there's not enough pieces. But on the same accord, you say, hey, man, throw him out there. Experience wins. You need the reps. Get him out there early. What we're seeing in Trevor Lawrence is his maturation period started coming before. He's in his third year. Just like Josh Allen took the leap, he's taking the leap. So now we have to sit back and say, all right, everything we thought when we drafted him is now coming to fruition.
Yeah.
Let's sit back and watch the show.
I'm glad you mentioned Josh Allen because what Josh Allen had was a guy like Brian Dable that gave him stability. What now we look at Trevor Lawrence, what he has, Doug Pederson, a quarterback whisperer, a guy who's given him stability, second year in this system. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Like you said, we know it.
Yeah.
And he has weapons across the board.
Look, he ended the season last year, if I'm not mistaken, 15 tutties and 2 picks over the last 9 weeks.
That's nice.
I think he's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why, can you guys find out what the stupid question was that Doug Pederson was asked to elicit the response of, he's the real deal. Meaning someone questioned, is he the real deal? I don't know. What else you got?
We got third in football, Joey Bosa. The Chargers Bosa, they were on the wrong end of that playoff loss to the Jaguars last year, said the following, quote, I just want to win some games. It's not like I didn't want to win before. I've won a state championship. I've won a national championship. So to be able to be the best in the world would be incredible.
That's the guy that 20 years after he graduates high school was talking about what he did in high school.
State championship.
Hey, I won back-to-back state championships, dated the cheerleader, and I was homecoming king.
Yeah.
Like what we talking about.
When you talk about this Chargers defense, this unit has to complement their offense. They haven't been able to do that because they're all hurt.
Thank you.
Both is always hurt.
Thank you.
J.C. Jackson, Darwin James, when they all got together, everybody's like, look out for the Chargers.
Yeah.
All right, we're looking. We can't find this all-world defense. Offensively, they're absolute studs. You paid Herbert for a reason. I'm a believer in him. When it comes down to him specifically, so you Bosa, because they can run, they can get after the passer, but they can't stop the run. They're Swiss cheese on defense when it comes to the run game. But as far as getting at the passer, they can do that. Other than that, this unit has to step up for the Chargers.
Ding, 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 ding. They got to be healthy.
They got to be
Like
healthy.
Nick Bosa should be saying, I just want to play a full season. He's played 7 seasons. This is going into his 8th season. He's only played 3 full seasons.
Yep. Right.
Like 3 times has he started and ended the season healthy. And that's a problem. Last year, he started 4 games for this Chargers defense. To your point, they can't get over the hump if they don't have their stars on the football field.
And this is a major year for the Chargers. They have to make the playoffs. 1, they've got to win a playoff game. 2, or there's going to be a new coaching staff out in L.A. because it's enough. You have a rock star quarterback. You've got wide receivers who, by the way, can't stay healthy either. And you've got a mediocre defense that's never lived up to the billing. It's time to win. And it doesn't have to be a Super Bowl, but it's time to win.
A playoff run, yeah.
This is a little bit like the last quote, too. He's like, I want to win games. It would be nice to win a Super Bowl. It's like, thank you so much for letting us inside the mind of a professional athlete, Mr. Bosa.
But I remember back in high school, I was 12-0.
We won state.
12-0. 12-0.
Mr. Rhode Island, Mr. Rhode Island football.
Yeah, I won a state championship.
It is time for
I mean, what are we
fourth.
talking? That's like me bragging about beating Craig Jennings in ping pong, which I did.
Did it happen?
4 months and 3
year
days
later.
ago.
Yeah,
Say it ain't so, Greg.
You know, I had to use
that's why you had surgery. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Like, there's 2 things I don't lose to anyone that ever comes on the show at: ping pong and golf. Hey there, thank you so much for watching The Carton Show. You can subscribe right here to get all the latest bits and segments from the show. And by the way, while you're at it, we have a lot of great shows on FS1, so check them out too.